get you going. I'm so excited to show you a couple things tonight. So thanks for being here, Jen, Vicky, Kristen, Brent, and Liddell. First of all, I want to say, I don't know if they'll see this, but I just want to say anyway, for that with the DMO, I should always see them, but on weekends I get really bad. So if you know someone is having a birthday, it says my connection's unstable. Sorry about that. I would love your help in just like texting me, reminding me, anything. But Amy Keene, MJ Athman, Dawn Turner, and Nick Schreiner all had birthdays over the weekend and then today. So happy birthday to them. Also, Laura Nowicki was on the Monday morning call this morning, and it was so beautiful because she went to the Carrie Dickey event in Utah. Laura is not afraid to talk to anybody within LifeVantage, right? She just will go up to anybody. So she joined forces with Melissa Brown, whom we've had as a guest on here, and then also Jennifer Bishop. And the three of them have done a couple meetings together so far. And just them feeding off one another, like Laura had, I'm talking about you, Laura, hello. She had some guests at one of their first meetings, and because Melissa and Jennifer were there, like her guests got great third-party validation. And like Laura said, she goes, I learned things about my guests that I didn't even realize because of other people feeding into them as well. So I just want to say, and I loved today that Melissa Brown introduced and teed up Laura and spoke praises about her that I have said about her as well. So I hope you really received it, Laura, because you deserved it. But you also really inspired me to reach out to a Crossline person here. She is under Marilee Marasich, and you just inspired me. So I reached out to her and I said, let's go for a walk or let's have coffee. Would you be interested in teaming up and like starting some momentum in this area? Because we need it. We need some momentum in this area. And she was like so grateful that I asked. So yeah, I just highly encourage you. If you like see if there's people in your area, and if there's not, even like go as far as maybe go into the official Facebook group, the consultant Facebook group, and ask, is anyone around this area? Or see if there might be somebody that you could team up with, because I bet someone would be so grateful that you asked them. And that can bring great energy alone. So props to you, Laura. I'm so proud of you. A reminder for July 20th, it's just around the corner to register. It is free. And if you are going to host even a couple people, you can go to the hub and you can go to June event, or you can go to, it's on there. I think it says it's under June events, and it'll have you register for July, but it'll also say if you're going to host an event or a gathering, you can click on being a host. And if you do that, the company's going to send you some swag, some things to have on hand for you and some guests, even if you make it something about bringing in some customers and just showing them that you want to introduce them to a little bit more of the company, right? I'm also hearing that we may or may not learn about the new product that's coming later in the fall in July, which I think is super cool. That's great marketing to get us excited and start talking about it now, right? So anyway, there's that. And then the Team Act promo is still taking place. There's 10 days left. It goes till the 20th, right? And it's getting 10 people through ITT. Now, I can't say that I've gotten 10 people all the way through ITT. I do have 10 people on my list that I've talked to, right? And that I've asked if they're open, that I'm setting appointments with, that I'm dropping off samples to. And in thinking about it this morning on the leadership call, that third step team, that third party validation, I believe it's changed a little bit because of all of the tools we have, because of e-commerce and all the information accessible on our site, because of social media and the information you can put out there. Like Christy Spaniel said, like she had a guy call her and just say he was ready. She didn't need third party. And I'm like, you can count that, like count it, right? So even if you're not getting them to connect to a team member, please give yourself credit for putting in the work. Give yourself credit for putting in the work, because I want you to be a part of that Zoom with Daniel. I want you to be fed by him. So, but I also believe third party and talking to someone else, that old school discipline goes a really long way if you can get them to that step. And I believe we get to that step sooner rather than later by taking control earlier in the conversation. By our mindset being that we know more than they do, that we know that the timing may not be right now for them, but the timing for me is right now. So I'm going to make sure that I control my time, and I ask them, I will send you that video, but I'll send it when I know you have time to watch it, right? Because I want to be able to follow up with you and take you to the next step if that's what you want. So really set the tone for that. And the sooner you do that in the conversation, the better. The other thing I want to show you is a new tool. And it's not a new tool, but we've got the ABC report, and I don't think it's a one size fits all anymore. I just don't. ABC report, you're going to have those people that maybe love science, and right? If they're a science person and the ABC report will really speak to them. I find myself more often talking about the ABC report and the fact after 30 days, they could distinguish an 80-year-old from a 20-year-old, jaws still drop. And then I don't always send that. I send the biohack and activate, right? Or I take them right to the site and send the page of the product they're looking at. But I want to show you a tool that's more all-encompassing instead of going right to a product. And that is, if you just go to your website, right? You've got this little video right here. And if I click on that video, it opens up a page that when I scroll down, there are more videos. Okay. So there's a video on the Healthy Glow Stack. There's the skincare video, and they're all very short, which is so cool. But this one alone is less than 3 minutes, right? So you could send them the link to this page and simply say, click on the first video. It's less than 3 minutes. Dawn Burris said the funniest thing this morning on the leadership Zoom. And she's like, because people were asking her how she is getting people, what she's doing right now, because she's got a lot of momentum going with people from Beautycounter. And she goes, honestly, she said, when I first came in, she's like, I didn't want to see that ABC report. I didn't want to see something that was done 10 years ago. And she's like, I wanted to see something current. She's like, I wanted to see before and afters. And she goes, I know that's what speaks to my people, are before and afters. She goes, also, if you were going to show me a 9-minute video, I would probably be on my deathbed and you could say it was going to change my life and I still wouldn't press play on the video. Because she's like, I'm not going to take the time to watch a 9-minute video. But you guys, I think a lot of us are like that today. I mean, we got to admit, right? We're in the TikTok era and we're in the Reels era, and we want it to be 30 seconds. There's a reason. They want people to keep clicking. So this video is less than 3 minutes. So I highly recommend click play on it, take a look at it, see if it speaks to you. And if it does, use that short video in your invitations, right? Use that short video. And again, telling people, I'm a part of a challenge with my team. I only have 10 more days. Would you just do me a favor and watch a 3-minute video for me? Just watch a 3-minute video for me. And if it interests you, I'll take you to the next step. And if it doesn't, we'll be done, right? Use that as your invite just to start getting people in motion. And again, at the end, once they've watched the video, tell them this company and these products are probably going to come around again. You're going to hear about them again, and it may not be from me. All I ask is that if they do, you remember I showed you first. Okay? Be direct with them and let them know that. Because again, I don't know exactly what's coming in the fall, but I want you to be the one that digs your well and lays that foundation. So that's the challenge, 10 more days. Use that video in your invite. I think it could be great. I want to show you a really quick report that I found that is great to use at the end of the month. Laura and I went through this morning. So thank you, Laura, for first showing this to me. It's so funny, Laura, they brought it up in our Beautiful Leaders thing as well. But sorry, I went into my back office and I went to, you go to reporting. And then I'm going to go to member summary, the one at the very top, the first one. I'll look at the chat here in a second, you guys. That got me in trouble last time. I'm so sorry. I'm not good at multitasking. Okay, and then the first report is going to be ordered, last but not current. The very first report. So it's a first report under reporting, first report when you get on this page. You can play around with the rest of these as well, but once the last subscription has gone out on the 25th, make a note in your calendar, whatever it is where you keep track of things, that you're going to go to this report and you're going to click on these 3 buttons. And it's going to give you everyone whose order did not go out. Okay. If I go in there now, there's 560 people that still have orders to go out, right? But if you click on it after the 25th, it will show maybe their credit card was declined, maybe they pushed their order out, whatever it might be. And if they push their order out, it will show you that their next order to go out will be in July. But it's a great report to go to find out whose order did not go out this month and why did that happen. Okay, so just an FYI on that. Also, there is the Axio. Cherry and peach, we're being told, let me close my door here. Those 2 flavors are selling 60% over the flavors of last summer. 60%. And they don't think they're going to last past the end of the month. So if you have a favorite, don't delay and make sure that you get those. And when we speak of products, you know, we're always probably looking for shareables to pop up in the social media shareable groups. And that's not, those don't happen on a daily basis. I think the best thing you can do sometimes when you're looking for shareables is go into Vitality Living and find a story. Find a story and think about people in your life or someone that you're currently speaking to, and find a story that relates to them. Because if you're currently talking to somebody like a mom whose child is misbehaving or can't focus, and you go find an Axio story and you post that, and you've been in communication, chances are she's going to see that. It's a way for you to direct your marketing towards your current market and your warm market and the people you're talking to. So always remember, if you don't have anything you're wondering what to put in there, go to Vitality Living, find a story, screenshot it, screenshot the image, screenshot the words, and put those in your story, right? And share that. But you also can go to the LifeVantage Instagram page, and they are going to, on a weekly basis, talk about different products. So it's a great place where you could go, and whether it's in their stories or a post, you can simply share that post to your Instagram and it will feed into your Facebook as well. Okay. All right. And then the last thing, I talked about this last week, but I could not wait to show you guys this stuff. I want to get ahead. It's just a couple weeks ahead, but I just want more than ever for you to be able to really create a real vision, a real strong vision, and why. When was the last time we talked about our why? But for yourself, for the next 6 months, where you want to end 2024, because it's going really, really fast, right? But I don't want it to be something that you hope happens or something that you'd like to have happen. I want it to be something that you want it so badly you can feel it in your bones. And my husband and I watched this movie this weekend on the Blue Angels. Has anyone ever gone to see them? Okay. Have you seen the movie? Good. I'm going to play a little bit for you. There's this scene in the movie, and when I watched it, I was like, wow, if only we committed to our goals and the way we live our life in the way that they get themselves so disciplined. Because in order to fly those planes, you guys, there are moments when they're in the air and they are less than 2 feet apart, their wings. So when someone is practicing to be a part of the Bluebirds, there is this suit that they put on them in the simulator for the first time that helps them with the G-force. It like helps their circulation, helps their heart. But they can only put that suit on the first time they go through this. Because if they were to have that suit on when they're actually flying the plane, that suit would inflate enough that if their arm moved, it would then move their hand. And if their hand moves just enough, it would move the plane too much. And they could then crash and cause this fatal disaster. So I am going to play for you this scene of them going through the visualization of them flying that plane so that nothing happens and that so that they're completely in sync. So God, please allow my Wi-Fi to be good and be okay through this. In your name, amen. Okay, here we go.
All right, it's Friday, March 11th, 2022, over Naval Air Facility, El Centro, California, where the winds are 330 at 910 miles, viz. Sky clear. Forecast where the winds 340 at 6 unlimited, viz. Sky clear. When we're cleared for takeoff, open 4 on the runway with a wind check, your park and break off, maneuver, and then have squirrel gauge. Left turnout, followed by the solos section.
During the briefs, we will follow around our ground track with our pins as boss is talking through the sequence.
Whiskers will be in from behind the crowd and sneak to vertical rolls, and the 5 ship will be in from the right. Atlanta West Loop.
Once we get to a certain maneuver, we will chair fly.
Around the castle, the Delta roll, ball, say 5.
Jason, Johnson, Chewy. After you do it so much, you know exactly where you're going, what you're doing, how it's going to feel. And you can actually like visualize yourself doing it, getting a practice in on that maneuver before you go out and do it.
Airspeed call, come left.
Yes, 6 balls.
Balls. Coming for left. We're left turn for the Delta roll. A little more pull. Horizon 75 easing power idle. Ready roll hat. We're left turn for the fleur lead.
Jason, Johnson, Chewy.
Distractions we talked about are going to be here. It's game on time, and just keep in mind you're going to have jitters. You're going to go out there, and even though it's at El Centro and there's going to be a few thousand people there that'll be saying something that's going to be looking to distract you. Think about that tonight, and think about when you get in there, just like we talked about, everything from the walk down, start talking the cadence, thinking about it, hop in the jet. Do everything and don't get distracted by looking around. Stay focused inside the canopy. And then once we're on the runway, it's the same as it ever was. So with that, I'm glad to be here. Ready?
So cool. You have to watch it. And then right on top of that, oh, best podcast today. I want you to hear this.
How do you flip that to your advantage? So meditation is really means to become familiar with, correct? So we're going to talk a little bit about meditation as we go forward here in a second. But if it is true that your body is your unconscious mind, which I didn't know that, and it is true that it does not know the difference between a real event or an imagined event. Can't you really use that to your advantage, though?
Of course,
So,
because, okay, so let's
yeah.
talk about that,
Okay.
because this is, because you do this really well.
Mhm.
Because most people are waiting for their life to change.
Yes.
So they can feel gratitude, to feel abundance, to
Mhm.
feel whole. You know, that's the old model of cause and effect, you know.
Mhm.
So if you're living with emptiness, you're living with lack, you're living with pain, most people have been conditioned that something out there has to take away this emptiness or feeling inside of them. But if you believe that you're creating your life and you're living by lack, well, lack isn't going to create abundance, right?
Mm.
So then it makes sense then that you don't really actually create wealth. You generate wealth. You
Oh,
generate
wow.
abundance. So the moment you start teaching your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like before it's made manifest, well, your body is the unconscious mind,
Mm.
believes it's living in that future in the present moment. Now, it's a scientific fact that it's the environment that signals the gene, okay?
Mhm.
The end product from an experience in the environment is an emotion. So when you begin to embrace an elevated emotion, you're beginning to signal the gene ahead of the environment. What's the importance of that? Well, genes make proteins, and proteins are responsible for the structure and the function of your body.
Mm.
And the expression of proteins is the expression of life. So by you creating an elevated emotion and teaching your body what that future will feel like before it's made manifest, your body's starting to live in that future reality in the present moment. Now, here's the key. If you were able to become familiar with gratitude, become familiar with wholeness, become familiar with abundance, to become familiar with freedom,
Mhm.
and you're able to generate those chemicals every single day, more than likely you would be walking around feeling like your future has already happened, and you would no longer be looking for it to happen. You would already feel like it has happened. Now, what is the importance of that? Well, you're literally becoming somebody else. So you're leaving your lack, you're leaving your guilt, you're leaving your emptiness behind.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So you talk,
Isn't that, anybody have any aha moments watching that? Isn't that so good? Like they feed on one another so beautifully. And I just thought to myself, like, to have the discipline that they have, but it has to come from a place of us knowing exactly what we want. And I feel like too often we get into LifeVantage and we know what we want, but then along the way, yeah, I'll post the link, but it's Ed Milet and it's today's. It's Ed Milet today with Dr. Dispenza. But I feel like too often then once we're in, we lose sight of why we said yes, and we lose sight of what we want because we get too caught up in the everything that's happening to everybody else around us, everything that everybody else is using, everything that's happening to everybody else but ourselves. We get too caught up in it. And sometimes that might mean too that you need to block out the noise. Like if social media is overwhelming and you find yourself constantly going down a rabbit hole rather than actually using it to help your business, then maybe you need to take a break from it and you need to focus on just getting out of your house and learning some new hobbies just to get around people, right? Like you have to do what is best for you. And I've heard this so much with a sermon on Sunday and She Works His Way podcast. Like sometimes we get so caught up with the world and the worldly desires that everybody thinks we should have instead of living for heaven, right? Living for that end result. And that is being a light to people. And if we get stuck and we can't be a light to people because we're stuck in rabbit holes watching everybody else, before you know it, the end of the year is here and you've done nothing for yourself to move your own life forward. We can't live like that, you guys. But what's really sad is it's going to take a lot of work. It takes a lot of fight. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline day in and day out to know what you are fighting for and what you are striving for and what you are working towards. So one way that you can do this that is free that I started creating is if you go to Canva, and you can do this for free on Canva, it's just canva.com. And in the top, you can type in vision board for your phone. And it's going to give you templates. So when you see a crown, that's a pro. That means you have to pay for that. But there are many on here, if you can see, like this one doesn't have a crown. So you could literally click on it and you just simply say customize. You're going to make it your own. And then what you can do is you can put images. This is easiest, I feel like, to do on your phone. What I'm doing on here for you, you see the same on your phone because we have a camera roll on our phone. So you literally on your phone could click on an image and you can replace each of these images and keep it just as it is and replace it with another image and make it yours and make it so that it's exactly what you see for your life, what you want for your life, not for anyone else, right? Whether it's, growing a team, getting a new car, building a garden, taking a trip with your spouse, whatever it is. But create one of these so that you have it and you can see it always. And what I loved about what Joe Dispenza said too, he's not talking about the faking it till you make it. He's talking about the feeling of living like the future has happened. But we can't live like the future has happened if we don't know where we're going. We have to know where we're going. So maybe, Vicki, it's not getting so caught up in your why. It's just simply getting caught up in what more do I want for my life, right? For me, the older my children get, the more I want for our life. I have to be prepared for weddings. There's just so much that I want for them to see and them to experience. And I have to take care of some things in order to do that. So they become my driving force of what I want to do. And I'm just tired of it not happening. I'm tired of getting distracted. And I don't want that for you either. So, watch that movie if you can. It's on Prime. It's The Blue Angels. It's phenomenal. I'm going to look at the comments here real quick. Yes, way to go, Laura. Third-party validation. Love it. Vicki, it's like the idea of affirmations to making new neural pathways in your brain and letting the old pathways grow over. That's exactly what he talks about. I'm telling you, I listened to the first 12 minutes of this podcast like 5 times because it's so deep and I wanted it to make sense and get ingrained into my head. And it's over an hour, so I still have a long way to go. The whole what's your why is a huge hang up for me if I get stuck trying to figure that out. Yeah, right. Yep. So don't get caught up in the why, get caught up in here's what I envision for my future. Here's what I envision for my future. And start creating that. And the last thing I'll tell you is the gentleman that we used to go to in Utah that Vicki has seen them. Why can't I think of his name, Laura or Vicki? But anyway, he would talk about having his vision board. And in his vision board, Kirk Duncan. Yes, thank you. He would have his vision board and he would never allow more than, I think, 6 or 9 items on it. And you guys, his discipline was every single day. He looked at the image on his board. It couldn't be more than 6 or 9 because then it's too much for your brain to focus on, right? So he kept it simple. And he would focus on each image and it was right by his bed. So when he got up, it was the first thing he would look at. And he would look at it and he would create the story that went with it. With each image, he would create the story that went with it. And because he did it every single day, seeing it and creating the story, there was a story of him standing in line. I think it was even at a grocery store, hearing a conversation of people behind him taking a boating trip or a fishing trip. And because he overheard it, he was able to converse with them because one of his visions was to catch this fish and go on this certain fishing trip that he ended up going on and catching the fish that he wanted to catch. But hearing that conversation would have never meant anything to him if he weren't dialed into first what he wanted for his future. But because he was so dialed into it, it was easy for him to tune into that conversation, right? It's you're living your life for what the future will become, not faking it till you make it, but you just know what you want and you're going after it as if it has, as if it has happened. So make one, and do it before July 1st, right? Do it before the end of the year. Do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for the people that you want to help. And again, as we go through the 10 ITT by by June 20th, do it for other people. Start sharing for other people, right? I've got this short video, I'm in a challenge. I keep getting caught up because I think of myself and I'm over it. Would you just take a look at it? Because I know there's a lot of people that I still need to help. And even if you don't like it, maybe there's someone you'll think of if you watch it, right? Just simple invites that are just loosey-goosey because you're just out to help the masses and find people that are at high noon and ready to watch it, right? And you're going to send it when they have time. I'm taking this challenge seriously. I want to get as many people shown this as I can. So tell me exactly when you can see it. Because if you have questions, I can take you through the next steps. Right? Tell me exactly when you can see it. You're in control of that conversation. You know more than they do. Right? Okay. Okay. Let's pray. Thank you so much, Lord, for just these amazing tools and gifts and people and movies and just all these amazing things that we can watch and see that can feed us in going the direction that you want our life to take. Help us to not get caught up in the things of this world. Help us to get caught up in you and the prize you have for us at the end, right? Just help us to get caught up in serving you and living our life as you would. And we know that that was service to other people. So if we find ourselves getting distracted or caught up in the wrong things, I just pray that your voice would be so loud that we could not help but to just shut it off, redirect, and do the things that need to get done. And I just pray in the midst of it as well that we enjoy our life, that we give gratitude for our lives so that we can always maintain that joy in everything that we do and be the light that people need in this world. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Mwah. Have a great night. Bye.